to all who come to this annoyed stream. Welcome. I almost didn't stream again. I skipped the last 2 weeks because the first week was right after the election and it was hella stressful. Needed some time to kind of process everything happening. And the last week was just... wasn't feeling it. I guess I was too tired from work. It's been a time. And then just now, as I started streaming, the downstairs neighbors started blasting their music, which they haven't done in months, so I don't know why they're back at it, but I'm hoping streaming will help me distract myself from all that noise. And thank God I got brand new noise cancelling headphones with my employee discount because they're amazing. They're doing wonders for me right now. Anyways, welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. This is a duology. Yes, there's 2 games in this. I have played both during the pandemic and absolutely loved this. I have played every Ace Attorney game, including the weird spin-offs like the one where Edgeworth is the main character and the one where Professor Layton and Phoenix had a crossover. But I think this duology might be my favorite out of all of them. It's so good, and I've been missing it. I've been itching to play it, so here I am streaming it. And just to preface the game itself, these are prequels. So we are playing as Phoenix Wright's ancestor, going through the journey of becoming an ace attorney. So this will be fun, I hope. Let's start a new game, shall we? Oh, and I should say the text will all be in English, but the voices are in Japanese because I prefer Japanese voice actors. I love this era of Japan. It's called the Taisho era. It didn't last very long, but it was the time when Western culture was entering Japanese borders, and so you see a lot of fusion in the fashion and like language and the food. It's so cool. There he is. That's our protagonist. Not looking good for him already. Bienvenue au la carnival. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I forgot that's what the sound effects was like for the text. It's so like it intimidating. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? Hell yeah. What? Oh, no, nothing. Savior Glare's murderer. Love the 3D rendering, it's so good. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now here I am. Here I am, awaiting my trial. I figured it would be fun if Ryunosuke and his partner, who will show up here soon, had a Japanese accent for reasons, so don't call me racist. That's enough. Ah! He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? Eee! I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes. And until the judge has given his verdict on the case. Novia, hi, you're early today. Welcome in. You're always a sight for sore eyes. How's it going? How you been? No one has the right to treat him as a criminal, so you will hold your tongue. You didn't get scheduled for 3 weeks, so no money for you. Aw. 3 weeks? That's so long. Is it because the holidays are coming up, or? Well, no money sucks, but that means more time for Zenless, right? Wink wonk. Technicalities, look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. Who knows where that wind is blowing from? And yet I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course, sorry. That face. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not! You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. Also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. I'm trying to, like, emulate my managers and upper management's accents right now. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much, yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. Important people dialect. No, it's the katakana Japanese English dialect. What game am I playing? I'm playing The Great Ace Attorney, the first game. So on the Switch there's the Chronicles, meaning both Great Ace Attorney games are bundled into one. And I've played both before, but it's been a few years and I really miss it. This is probably my favorite of the Ace Attorney series, so I figured why not stream it? And also now that I got my husband familiar with the Ace Attorney franchise, I think he'll enjoy this one. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma, truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get study abroad at last. I know, I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. I should mention the reason I fangirled when Asogi came into view. His voice actor is my favorite voice actor, Yuichi Nakamura, so I have a bias towards this guy. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. I like to think that Asogi has slightly better English pronunciation because he's been studying so much. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. Oh right, the Queen's still alive at this point. If only it was that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Also because you don't think you've asked this before, do I have Pokemon Scarlet or Violet? Yeah, you've never asked me that. I had Violet, and yes, had as in past tense because I sold it off like last year, I think. I finished the campaign, and got so frustrated with how poorly the online raid mode handled itself, I decided to sell it off. I didn't see myself playing it again. And I've heard very mixed reviews, mostly negative reviews about the DLC, so no longer in my possession. Yeah. Do you play Scarlet or Violet still? I saw that there's a Shiny Rayquaza raid coming to that soon, which is pretty exciting. I love Shiny Rayquaza. You really like the DLC? That's cool. Yeah, it seems like the green mask half of the DLC looked fun. And then of course running around as your own Pokemon in the other half is silly. You own Scarlet. You're actually currently playing. Oh, nice. Excuse me. Did you choose Scarlet for the Koraidon? I chose for Miraidon, but also the Professor Turo. Because daddy... Red, you like red? Oh, you like red. Okay, cool, fair. Fair enough. Well then Scarlet is right up your alley. Red's a good color. Red is the color of Anton's highlights in his hair. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow, then, partner. It's also cute to imagine like playing this in English, that Kazuma or Asogi and Yunosuke are speaking to each other in English to practice the English. Like I think that's cute. That'd be cute. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? God, thank you. Give me the pat pats, yay. God, the 3D models look so good. Was it? I think it was Ace Attorney 5? Ace Attorney 5 was when Capcom introduced 3D models to the franchise, and they already looked good back then, but I feel like in this duology they really explored the possibilities and like capabilities of 3D models and having them in a rendered space. Like, they really nailed the animation for this game. You'll see soon enough, I think. Professor, I didn't know you were coming.
Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now, Asogi. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers.
To His Excellency's chambers? Why?
He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result.
Who is this man? I feel as though I have seen him at a university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. They're so cute. I don't ship these two, but god, they're so cute. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward.
If I may.
Yes, sorry.
You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Yuji Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University.
Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad.
Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know.
No, what?
Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again.
What?
As I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you.
He's agreed to defend me knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing?
The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances.
I don't believe it. Unbelievable. But I didn't do it, I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I just remembered something funny. I'll tell it later.
I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence wouldn't be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial.
Sorry, what do you mean?
You'll soon understand once proceedings get out of the way.
But then what should I do?
Well, naturally I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction.
Right, so
as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do.
I do? But what will the question be? Surely not. Do you accept the accusations brought before you?
Of course not. Defendant! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
See, God, that camera zooming into the bailiffs, so good. Little touch, but it's good.
It would seem our
surreptitious. Hold on.
Yeah, surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, As the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving! There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway, Jesus. What happened to justice? This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over, and what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence, the trial that would decide my destiny. Dun dun dun. So this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniform in there. The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret with a gallery? A trial that's close to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. I just realized I've been clicking the B button to progress. It should be the A button. I've gotten so used to my PS5. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now. You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. Get a good look at the judge, everybody. He's only in this episode. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency.
As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. It's kind of funny that the prosecutor is basically the same from the mainline games. It's just with a chomage hairstyle. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to the trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then if I say I do, I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Let's do it. Do you take Asogi as your lovely wedded husband? I do! Wait, what? Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear. Yes! By the way, but that's gay indeed, yes. Very gay. Good. In olden times, Japan would not allow that. But if you're in a courtroom and you're told to say I do, isn't that just the only question that's possible? By the way, Ryunosuke is voiced by Hiro Shimono, also known as Dabi from My Hero, or Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, Connie from Attack on Titan, etc. He's so good. Love it. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You will be... What?
Demon Slayer beloved. You're a Demon Slayer fan. No shit, no kidding. I watched a little bit of the anime. I think I got to the point where they revealed that Muzan is the father of all demons. And then I just kind of trailed off after that.
What are you playing at, Ryunosuke?
Professor Mikotoba told me everything just now before the trial.
He did what?
He says that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose.
How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off?
Wording! No, it's not that, really. Really, just that... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you...
Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel.
Get it off! Come on, you can do it. Yes, do it.
Which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in.
Very well.
The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
In what world does that make sense? Like, only in the Ace Attorney world, really.
Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel, really. Ah!
Sorry. Oh my god. God, I love you, Ichi Nakamura. It's so good. You read the manga when it ended, sped ran the chapters until you were caught up, then had to suffer for like 5 weeks for it to finish. Really? I'm confused. You read the manga when it ended already? Ah, I gotcha. You caught up and then had to wait for it to end. Gotcha. Well then, how long did that take you? Cause like, I guess Demon Slayer the manga isn't that long. It's not nearly as long as like One Piece or Full Metal Alchemist. You read the last chapter when it came out. Gotcha. Yeah, I forgot the manga ended. Since they're still making some anime stuff. Like, I think there's a new season coming, right? Boy, that author is gonna live comfortably off of all the royalties. Who's your favorite character? Is it, Rengoku? You started at, like, 11 p.m., then cried at 3 a.m. Aww. Damn, that's so sad. It's also like 3 a.m. is like sad boy hours, so great time to cry your eyes out.
And make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself.
The anime is actually in the last season, you believe? Oh, gotcha. That would make sense. I mean, it hasn't been too long since the manga ended, right? Guess the anime didn't have much to catch up to. My mom loved Rengoku. It's kind of unexpected, honestly. Oh, you love Inosuke? Nice. I like his feral energy from what I've seen. Yeah, I didn't realize my mom actually consumed Demon Slayer, but she saw the movie and kept going on about how much she loves Rengoku, and I was like, wow, I can't relate. I don't know, his design just doesn't do it for me.
Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. I never realized how, like, done Asogi looked in those expressions.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed.
That is the character for Sin on his fan, if you are wondering. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature in Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the tasks that you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? My English. He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So let's start with the very simplest of questions. Oh, yes! Hi! Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But... wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Ryunosuke. His name is John Cena! Stop. Stop. Oh my gosh. Is that meme still even relevant? Recorder says please stop. Y'all are ridiculous. I didn't expect the combo team play from y'all. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank. You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. Novi gets it. Yes, clearly. But I can't even find that. It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of R. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press R for the court record. Boom. Court record. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with R. Oh, that's nice. They actually point that out. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back. John H. Wilson. He's only 47 years old. He looks like he's 60. The victim of this case, he was visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from the British Empire. Yes, John H. Wilson is no coincidence that he has that name. Remember that, everybody. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now you'd better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press X to present. Try it now. Well, okay. Boom. Hi! The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. I'm pressing B again, oh my god.
Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university.
Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Wow, what a... That sounds far less official
in English. The Japanese title sounded a lot more political, but this is like friendship and happiness and navigation, not getting lost, buddy system.
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? Shame on you! Shame on your cow!
But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman.
Goddamn those Englishmen.
Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. Western wanted like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still. I should go and say hello. Hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. And killed him. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death... Well, obviously that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. Present.
Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body.
Shot through the heart.
Well... According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma.
Learn to read, you imbecile! That's the post-mortem report, I take it.
Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way.
Can you imagine if that's what we still did in the justice system or forensic science at all? Cops seem like, yep, blunt force trauma. They're dead, alright.
Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range.
Thank you, Counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Calling a photograph scientific is so funny. So that's a photographic print? Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Very well, I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial.
Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of this case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened.
I feel like if I'm not careful, I'm gonna turn into Doofenshmirtz without you. This is it, then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes. Clearly you're the defense lawyer today. Not me, but that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. Of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Is that a phrase? Sticking his oar in? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first.
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please.
Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should.
As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants and an Occidental eatery 3 days ago.
Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir.
And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on! Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor besides the professor, I didn't shoot him.
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what you saw, you amateur!
But... The next time you interrupt it at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, defended Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness.
If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today.
Yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Widerson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about it ejecting, but still, what should I do?
Wait. It's not your turn.
I desperately want to say something, but I was not told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, are you? I suppose I am. I'd never have got into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty.
But this isn't the time to cross-examine. What?
Alright, you've scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it. Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you've mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. The characters on the left say kitchen, and the bottom left says entrance, if you're wondering. Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Because a drawing is totally acceptable as evidence, and we know for sure he didn't just sketch this up right before the trial. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Oh my gosh. Something certainly seems to have shaken him.
So, the court has now heard a precis of the case.
Presses? I don't know what... how to pronounce it. Yes, at the moment, the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you.
In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial. The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself?
Maybe I am guilty now that you mention it. It's probably what's happening in Ryunosuke's mind.
The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Aochi, please continue with proceedings.
Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be.
I don't know if you want to be a saint. That means you died.
In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever! The prosecution calls its next witnesses.
Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. I forgot about the multiple witnesses. Yeah. So this is different from the mainline games. We have multiple witnesses at once.
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Reporting for duty, sir. Got the names.
Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Curio Korekuta at your service.
That's a joke for curios, like curiosity, and collector, if you can't tell.
An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant in the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct?
Affirmative! The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir! It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir! This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? Boy, am I. If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Savory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. All these weird words I'm not familiar with. What the witnesses saw. Finally, we're getting into the gameplay. I was investigating a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. Dear. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees, investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. From the back? Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir! Affirmative, sir! That wicked university cadet, sir! The cruel and unforgivable enemy! What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. Sir, you shouldn't have a weapon in the courtroom. Who let that man in? But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot at anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I'd say hello to Dr. Widerson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, I accidentally pulled the trigger. Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is. Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Gasp! Yeah. Cross-examine? Do it now.
As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice.
Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this
Why didn't he cross-examine the first? That's a great question. You know, I wonder the same. I guess he wasn't making a full testimony? He was just presenting the evidence.
What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst?
I mean, the defense demands its right to a cross-examination. Some people just seem truthful. Yes, the man coughing up blood is absolutely truthful.
Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
Huh? How did you know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination.
Whether or not you think whether or not he thinks, oh my gosh, whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding.
Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses.
Witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination.
Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements.
How?
You didn't fire the gun, which means that what that soldier said has to be a lie.
Well, yes, but
it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence.
right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying.
Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat
you. Alright then, it's all nothing. Okay. God, it's been so long. Yes. 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 Was it from the back? He was shot from the front. The eye twitching, it's so good.
What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my moustache?
Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here.
What nonsense! What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Slap!
Like Dan Avidan would say, slap. Well, obviously that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this Grand Quarter.
This is so frustrating.
Oof. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court.
God, Kazuma's Asogi's theme is playing right now. It's so good. I love the soundtrack so much.
Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here. with the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant Yesanosa. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Sergeant Nosa. Suddenly a baby! Yup. Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Man, this guy looks a lot like Waluigi, I just realized. I was like, he looks familiar. It's probably the mustache. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir.
What?
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Oh shit!
Yeah!
There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. He said the thing. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. Roll credits. That's the game. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed! The Hoei-era koban, my prized coin! On each occasion when I visit the restaurant. It is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute. In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you? On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I proffered my Hoei treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished.
The koban vanished?
Koban is an old Japanese gold coin, by the way. Pretty sizable too, it's like the size of your palm. Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there, and then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoei Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Can we get things moving? Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon.
It was CB who took the coin. Wow, way to confess. You thought the sage in a barrel would want it. Oh my gosh, stop with the Zenless reference. I still have one commemorative coin in my pocket, and he doesn't want it. I don't know why that extra is in there. It's the gold one too, so it's like for the 6th Street. I don't know if it's just me or it's on purpose. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. For me to keep forever, I guess. I don't like it though, it's just sitting there pointlessly. I don't like cluttered spaces, okay? Even my inbox, I always empty out whatever I don't need. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Aochi?
Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate and other colloquialisms, but he will find a wolf at the back. And more colloquialisms. My witness have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruto.
What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Oh, speaking of Zenless, I need to do my dailies after this. Very well, the court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Kiriko is a traditional Japanese art of glass etching? Is that the word? Carving, there we go. It's colored glass and you make carvings in there to make really beautiful patterns. I own a couple. I got some from my parents as celebration for the wedding. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Aido. I was trying to think, what's the joke for Aido? Aido. I think it's I do. It would seem the straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Asogi with all the puns. Aido tenshun. Hoorah! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
It certainly is not.
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black, that much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly Wait, that's nonsense. Nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at this table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies about your imaginary women. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, Counsel?
Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
Ugh, this doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. Ew, carbonated water? Was that a thing back then? Oh, was sparkling water that old? I struggle to believe that.
I don't understand. What's going on here?
It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. It was a thing when you were a kid for sure, it just wasn't popular. I guess so. Yeah, I feel like carbonated water is a pretty recent fad. But I don't know, did they have carbonation back then? Really don't know. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. And I'll get to have dinner with my wife. Nah, carbon didn't exist until the 90s. I guess so. We didn't have carbon emission from cars at this point. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Taketsuchi Auchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. Just like the US election. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? I'm getting real hungry.
Rules can be so unbending at times.
She's such high stakes for a tutorial case. It's almost the same thing that's truly not true. Visual search of the premises. One personnel present. Might need to press somewhere. Okay. You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
only there'd been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed that. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant, for real though. 2 to 3 was dead hours at the dining hall where CB and I worked at. I know, of course, the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
Oh, new evidence. What is that, Counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
Hotta Clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, no, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident.
So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case.
I wonder. What do you think, Yunosuke?
Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really.
Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card? I mean, more ammunition is always good, right? Yeah, why not? Let me see that report card. If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence will be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well, the court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend that will continue into the 2019.
Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. There we go. And now that I think about it, I think Hotta Clinic actually was a name in Ace Attorney 2. Wow, I didn't notice that my first time through this. What we need right now is clues. New clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. Quite literally, actually, because you can actually examine the evidence in 3D model form.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korekuta-san. Korekuta-san.
Okay. We never looked at this either. I can't flip it. Oh well. Oh, I can't even read this one. What the fuck? Alright then. Okay, I can read this. Male, British, 19th November after 2. No
exit wound. Very concise death report. I guess I'll keep pressing. So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone.
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in.
So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there is only a single beefsteak on the victim's table. A meal for one.
No. The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter. I keep saying surgeon. The sergeant and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. They're in cahoots. Why aren't you telling the truth? What did you say, Cadet? I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed. But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry. The waiter whose testimony the court heard earlier clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. That's right.
Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady.
But I...
If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time.
There's nothing I can say to that. What is this laugh anyways? I'm gonna have to keep pressing, I think. Oh, this is new dialogue. I thought it was just like the filler. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? Ah, right. Tutorial. You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press A and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. I jumped the gun, apparently. Yeah. Another advantage to having 3D models. Yep. Investigate. Got it. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Yep. 診察表, 診察, oh, that's cool. It has English subtitles. Never noticed that, I think. 診察を受けるときは必ず本件を持参することだ。It says Hotta Clinic on this medical report card.
I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. In my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Oh. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. With laughing gas for a whole tooth extraction? That's rough. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. There we go. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Ba-ba-ba. Something about dining all by himself. That's probably it. Yeah, there we go. You know you're right when the music stops. Well, I think, About what are you waiting, lad? Call yourself a lawyer. I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. That doesn't always turn out well, but okay. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Correcta-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Oh, I see. And I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on the report card with your witness statement. Slap! Something clearly doesn't add up.
Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateur's drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There's surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there's no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could...
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hotta Clinic, which issues a report card, is a dental clinic. Dun dun dun.
Dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that cut.
Correcta-san. What, boy, what? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Yeah. Expertly done, partner.
What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence.
Evidence. I can read.
You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Use your head. Oh my gosh. What a straightforward insult. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you?
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. I forgot how full of jokes Asogi is, Jesus. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beefsteak? It was Yunosuke. He stole a bite. The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel. Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. You know, the theme of the whole franchise, turning things around. Got it. So, the person eating the steak was the unknown party. Me, I did it. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything, yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. The steak was a paid actor. Yes. True enough. Kazuma.
Are you insane? You would take on the government?
Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What? What are you talking about?
So was the sparkling water, yes. I forgot about the sparkling water. They got paid the koban, the golden coin. We've come full circle. We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury.
Perjury!
And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing.
Complicit in murder? No!
So animated, I love it.
Negative! There was no mention of this at the technical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us.
Oh shit.
What? What did you just say? Korekta-san. Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was...
Say you never saw the gentlewoman. Arr. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas?
What?
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses give false statements? Is this true, you pair?
You cards.
Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this!
I love how boldly he admits that.
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut?
It's all a conspiracy! Da da da!
Well, that's classified.
So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you?
You wouldn't. This can't be happening.
God, the animation's so good.
Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this,
I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Aochi had any idea about it. I don't think he has the balls to do it.
What are you saying?
I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It was a ploy by the meat and water industry. No, this is way before capitalism. That can't be true. No. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose.
Hey, Cap.
Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouth shut. I'm like turning into German accent, sorry guys. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever Evidence that proves oh my gosh, I got a stroke over here. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. Or they. But how can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. Yes, sir.
I want answers, as do I. This thing. Ba-ba-da-ba. Hold on. There we go. Well, that's unexpected. Nobody expects this. Okay. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What an ass! What an ass. I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence, if they're wielding it somehow here. A cab. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god.
That's a lot of gods. That's funny. There's literally like 3,000 Shinto gods.
I knew nothing.
And what does the defense have to say about all this,
Well, Your Excellency, no time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is the only other person we've talked to. Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Poppycock! Oh, can I say that?
What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have the level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. He's so not subtle about pulling his punches. If that is the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were?
Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity. Yeah. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of this business card. Of his business card. Oops. The front of the back of the back of the side. Yes. The not front. Sorry, y'all. My TCGP stamina recovered, so I'll be opening a pack while I do this. It's on there somewhere. You gotta 4D chess your way into this. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious. Goodness gracious. Wow, I got 2 Zeb Strikers in the same pack? That's lame. By the way, if anybody watching is playing TCGP, please add me as a friend. I would love to earn more shop points and wonder pick options. Thanks.
That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Oh... Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. Yes, flashback to the moment that was so forgettable. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Oh, of course. Yourself. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. I don't know about that. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say the lunch special? With a root beer float? Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer?
I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An English woman has been murdered on our soil. To name an English woman as the primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right! Goddamn ACAB. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory is a young English woman. Dun dun dun. What? A woman studying abroad? That's not allowed. You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean... When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. I can't figure out the joke on that one. Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to your excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well, my thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a discretion... Oh, excuse me. It would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Ugh. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. Except for this bronchitis. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. Your Excellency!
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. I forgot. For a tutorial case, this is awfully long. Save. I can overwrite my previous data, but Woof. And the plot thickens. God. I love this game so much. However, my throat is tired and I should probably figure out dinner at some point. So. Yeah, let's end on Asogi's handsome face here. I was hoping to get through this tutorial episode today, but that seems a bit ambitious, I think. That being said, thanks for the victory streak. I wasn't expecting that. That being said, I might stream Zenless next Monday because it's actually Billy Kid's birthday and I fucking love Billy Kid. He's the reason I started playing that game at all. So that would be fitting. So I don't know if I'll finish this next week. There's really not much going on Zenless, to be honest. And I don't think the new banner's coming up yet, so... Oh my god, Leo, you're late. Yo, you got back from the arcade? Nice. You played all the rhythm games? I was just about to wrap up here, but I'm glad you made it. Yeah, Novi, it's Billy's birthday next Monday. It just so happens today is Tetsuro Kuro's birthday from Haikyuu, if anybody else cares. That's another character that Yuichi Nakamura voiced, along with Kazuma here. It's been a month since you've been there? Is it really? I feel like you were just there a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks, gotcha. Yeah, I didn't realize how long it had been. It felt like you were there every weekend. Yeah, so I don't know if we work in a COVID time. Yeah, no, seriously, November just flew by for me. I don't know about y'all, but like it was practically non-existent. So yeah, it would be fitting to stream Zenless for Billy's birthday. We'll see what happens, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'll do a surprise stream this Friday the 22nd to finish this episode. Because I don't have work. I'm also off work next Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. Decisions. Well, this is exciting though. God, I love this game so much. And by the way, you can find the full Great Ace Attorney soundtrack on YouTube. Somebody posted it there, so if you want to give that a listen, you can enjoy it for like 4 hours. I believe it's for both games. It's so grandiose and elegant with a touch of Japanese in there. It's beautiful, gorgeous. Go give it a listen. Alright, I guess with that I shall call this a day, maybe? Yeah, that about wraps it up. I should post this to my YouTube. Thanks for the stream, thanks for coming, thanks for listening to my poor voice acting. Yeah, think about who the real murderer is in this case. There's still a lot to uncover. And by the way, this may be a tutorial case, but it is actually really crucial to the overarching story of this duology, so don't just brush it off as a tutorial. Be warned. this will come back to haunt us. And with that, I hope you have a good day or night wherever you are, and see you real soon.